What? Alrighty, so I'm gonna be talking a little bit about just my overall perspective, what I'm seeing, what I'm liking. Obviously, it's been about 2 weeks now since the S&P got like 2% away from its 52-week highs. It actually closed at its 52-week high on Friday, but it didn't reach or didn't break the actual intraday 52-week high. And I am expecting that on Monday, if not Tuesday. Just like I'm expecting the MULN lawsuit update Monday, if not Tuesday. And so I guess where I want to start is, I mean, last week we saw GameStop go a little crazy, craziest it's gone in a long time. And then I don't know if you guys know, but like on the articles for the investing on GameStop, it says that GameStop's up on no news. But the only news that actually happened of that day where it started running and the next day where it keeps running was some guy posted a fake tweet or a fake DM message from Ryan Coheen saying that he was talking to Ryan, and Polte Holmes, who's like a guy on Twitter, just gives away money like $500 at a time to get followers. And this guy basically calls him out saying that he didn't have a conversation with Ryan Coheen, and this guy deletes his account, and then everyone goes crazy and acts like it's Armageddon or it's Moas time for GameStop when literally nothing has happened. And they used whatever kind of fake momentum they created out of that fake event to get like all these fake accounts just starting to make their profile picture the picture of Ryan Coheen. Now, if you're following MULN and you've seen like what everyone did with the MULN backgrounds, like it really feels like some weak energy of them just trying to steal the fire. Um, the same energy goes with like we file our lawsuit, we know our lawsuit's about to drop, and then a week before that, Trump and Elon Musk file lawsuits that they're claiming are nuclear exposure to the system, and they're actually pretty weak and garbage lawsuits, which is the funny part. Um and so we see the S&P 500, we see the GameStop garbage happening, and all of that actually kind of bothers me because like you would think that if we really are squeezing that like these little games that they're playing have no control over the squeeze. So it's like, why are they even playing it? I don't fully understand. Like, I understand building the distractions, all this stuff, but if MULN's as big as I think it's going to be, then that just doesn't work out. So what I mean by that is a couple things. Like, if MULN goes to $1,000 a share, even if GameStop went to $1,000 a share, like, I don't think they'd let it. But even if it did, does that really stop people from looking at MULN? I don't think so. And if it doesn't, then everyone that went into GameStop and just gets totally wrecked, and MULN Moas and GameStop just like dilutes into nothing or announce bankruptcy, whatever. Like, in what world did they not just create a whole nother lawsuit against GameStop where like all the investors can sue GameStop and fucking Ryan Coheen and Polte Holmes for creating all this. Like, I guarantee the account that blocked or deleted their account, and then they ended up bringing it back. But it's either Polte freaking doing that account also, and or his best friend that he told to do it so that they could create this garbage. And so the fact that MULN's coming off this lawsuit, and like if they fuck with the MULN squeeze in any way. Like, we're going right into discovery to be able to discover that. And so it's hard for me to imagine that they would fuck with the squeeze. Oh man, it's so weird to think about all of it. And so if we think about the squeeze just like monetarily for a second, like, you got to understand, AMC squoze when half the people bought below $5 and then the other half people bought around $10. And so when it's squeezing and it's starting at $12 and it's running to $72, literally everyone was already in a profit at $12. AMC was, every shareholder was green going into the squeeze. Like, there was one time where AMC was at $20 for less than a few hours, where like potentially you bought in above the $12 mark, because it went straight from like $8 to $20 in a single day. And so outside of anyone buying at that time, like literally everyone's already in the money. And there were so many times the average down and it was so obvious, and it was great. But something about that squeeze rubbed me the wrong way, especially the investors. And it truly felt like it wasn't going to be what we needed it to be. The stage wasn't big enough. It wasn't bright enough. And so, yeah, I didn't use that as an opportunity to try to make a name for myself. But I am expecting MULN, like, just the stage set with the Israel war. I mean, if you don't know, go read that last letter. It's clear and obvious. It says, and you can go look at the Bears comments on my Twitter, where we were talking about this like a month ago, where I talked about the pre-motions that they filed that were suppressed. And obviously their answer that they filed October 5th that was suppressed. And it says, so let's read through this first. Dear Judge Ho, this firm represents MULN Automotive, Inc. and Ulysses Novoa. In the above referenced action, plaintiffs respectfully submit their letter pursuant to individual Rule 2EI to request a short extension of time to file an amended complaint to allow further time to investigate the factual insertions in defendant's first set of pre-motion letters. Plaintiff's complaint was filed on August 29th. On September 23rd, 2023, before the time to respond to plaintiff's complaint had expired, defendants requested with plaintiff's consent an extension of time from September 21st, 2023 to October 19th, 2023 in order to exchange the first set of pre-motion letters required by your Judge Torres's individual rule. Defendant's request was granted. On October 5th, the 2023 defendants served their first set of pre-motion letters. After meeting and conferring with defendants, plaintiffs requested, with defendants' consent, a 45-day extension until November 30th to amend their complaint. That request was granted on October 30th, 2023. This action was transferred to Your Honor, and the court issued an order providing that all prior orders, dates, deadlines shall remain in effect. We have been diligently investigating the factual assertions in defendants' pre-motion letters and determining the appropriate response thereto, but require a small amount of additional time and now request an 8-day extension to December 8th, 2023, to the deadline to amend the complaint. Now, we saw in there that they said that the letters were served on October 5th, so the defendant answered October 5th. We know that the Israel war started October 7th. And it sounds like that war is coming to some type of conclusion where Israel is not winning. And we know that the judge didn't give him the extension to December 8th and instead said December 5th, which is Tuesday, but definitely makes Monday a viable option. And what's important about the lawsuit and the stage that it has set is a couple things. Is one, the purpose of the John Does, in my opinion, is first waiting for the defendants to answer and then coming out with the rest of your evidence, which hopefully is exposing those extra John Does we haven't even mentioned in our first complaint. But also, what's important about them is The second that the trial gets past a motion to dismiss, the second that there is any type of evidence that these people have done us wrong, and the second that the named defendant on the complaint can be tracked to trillions of dollars of wealth, the richest people to ever be sued in this type of fashion, open public court fashion, it sets up something that like is called punitive damages. And basically, punitive damages are what's paid on top of what is just justified by the law. So the law says one thing and says this much and whatever, but then punitive damages become something where it's like, okay, how rich were they? Did they how evil were they? And how much damage did they cause in other people's lives? And based on these three qualifications, a jury can set any number of damages awarded to the defense or to the plaintiffs. And so if it's the richest people in the world, if it's proven that they did the worst thing and that they rigged the free market in the free America, and that the lives of the investors over the last 2 years, like I'm sure many stories are going to come out, but I'm sure that I like mine's not the only heartbreaking story out there. And so if you think about it from the context of just the moment that the lawsuit has defined the rich person, has defined the damage done and the proven damage, even if it's a small amount that is proven right now in discovery, a small amount gets you to everything. If the people online are if the people online, the FUD daddies and all the others are getting paid to do this, like that all comes in discovery. There is not going to be a limited window inside of that. And so when you think about it in that context and you think about MULN being a $70 million market cap, and you just think about like the best lawsuit ever won in courts is $200 billion. Well, if MULN wins $200 billion, they're going to get somewhere between 10 to 40% of that. And that just sets a cash value market cap of MULN at probably plus $100 or so. And so that is one thing that I really love about the stage of this short squeeze is that the second we start getting real information on it, we can start putting numbers to it. And when we start using the value of the cash of the company and not just all the fundamentals of the business, then the value skyrockets. And it will be, in my opinion, extremely hard to find. Like, if somehow they let this answer come and it exposes everything I just talked about, and we're still buying for 15 cents a share, like, so be it, I guess. Like, I mean, that might be enough to where I just start doing space calls every day or something when I can, like, just prove it that they're just giving everyone the free window. And so obviously I don't think that's the case. And if that's not the case, then what that means is like I think the mathematical function has to come to fruition, which is if retail owns every single share and it's the same people that have been averaging down for 2 years, like unlike AMC, when it's gone up 600% and everyone was already in the green before it went up the 600%, MULN's going to have to go up at least a drastic amount in order for people who've been investing a long time or even probably a short time. Anyone who knows what's happening, anyone who sees what's happening, like in the whole idea of getting justice through a squeeze, like in order to put a dollar number on it, obviously you'd have to go up to the tens of thousands because that's where we're starting at. 2 years ago, when they freaking first screwed us, it's got to be at least $10,000 a share. I honestly feel like at least 1,000 would be enough to where, since we're going from here to like 1,000, it's a big deal, especially for anyone that even averaged down anything. And so, like, I think that would be enough to where No one else could try to claim to be the same thing. All these little stupid things they're doing around the, like, whether it's the other people's lawsuits, the other stocks, freaking GameStop, whatever it is they're trying to do. If we had 1,000, like, there's no way they can sweep the story under the rug. I mean, as far as rich people are concerned, AMC never squoze because they just swept it under the rug. And the average YouTuber and anybody else will tell you that AMC only went up because if you look at the Fed, they started pumping a lot of money into the market, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, well, guess what, bitch? None of the Fed money went into AMC. Not a fucking penny. Instead, as AMC was squeezing, there was just 30 different insider filings of sellings for 30 days, and there was insider announcement of dilution for 60 million shares. They were doing everything they could to sweep AMC under the rug, and they did an excellent job. And then they just fucking screwed AMC with all these garbage votes for like they didn't need all like. So they tried to get AMC more dilution with the vote, but they need retail shareholders to vote yes in order for them to get it. But the way that reverse splits work, it's all about who shows up to vote. And the way that preferred shares work, it's all about who shows up to vote. So AMC does this crazy thing where they create preferred shares for 5 billion shares, and then they end up 2 years later converting them into AMC shares. So now they're back into AMC with billions of potential shares to dilute. And they did it through a backhanded way because they knew they couldn't get their investors to vote for more dilution because they already said no. And there's no way to rebuild that bridge. And so, again, with MULN, the idea is if we get that same type of FOMO coming in after we start squeezing, if we can point to something, explain why it's squeezing, and explain why this catalyst is more valuable than what MULN has to be at, because MULN's got to be at above $100 a share for it not to be more valuable than for the lawsuit not to be more valuable than the company itself. And so, again, if we're in court, if the catalyst is the court case and it starts squeezing, then the mathematical function of the way the squeeze is going to work, assuming that we do as retail own all the shares and like we're waiting for a squeeze, what's going to happen is one day, instantly, it's going to jump up 1,000%. And then, I mean, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour after it jumps up to 1,000%, $1 billion is going to come in. And honestly, in the first day, I don't know if it's $100 or $1,000 or more, but in the very first day of the squeeze, because of the lawsuit, because we know that if they screw the squeeze over, we'll just get that in discovery too. And the amount of money that we can value, like the formula of a squeeze, is so much. It just makes me, it makes me very confident we're going to see something amazing all in a day. And if we don't, and if we run to $1, and then by the end of the week we're at $5, and then by the end of the week we're at $20, and then we start coming back down to $10 before we run to $50, and we get to 50 by the end of the month type thing. Like, there's no way we can settle a lawsuit for any amount of money. We all should have got paid just enough to be able to survive until we let a jury give us the world. But there is no mathematical possibility this only goes to $50 if they aren't screwing the squeeze. I mean, it could take a week to hit the numbers that I've talked about, but there's no chance that zero chance that this can take a month to only hit 50. It's got to be all at once. Otherwise, it's rigged. And if it's rigged and like we only get $20 in some bullshit, oh man, the amount of anger that's going to be in my heart. Like, it won't be because I have absolutely nothing, because even at $20, I'd have something. But it will be, the anger in my heart would be so large, nobody would be safe. Not one motherfucker. We'll see. I'm excited. I can't imagine them trying to snuff this squeeze like they have the last ones, but if they do, I'll be here to expose it all. There's really probably no number I could be satisfied with unless it really does all come in a day and we're breaking at least 1,000 in a day. Anything short of that, and I'm probably going to war with everybody. We'll see. Especially if everyone else celebrating when it's clear and obvious that we got Jude again. Um, anything else on the lawsuit? So there's a couple things I think I want to touch on the lawsuit. So we're definitely excited to find out what they said. Like, I believe there's something in those pre-motion letters that led to. Because, like, just you got to understand, if something's filed in court, just because we can't read it, just because it gets suppressed, just like there's 1,000 people that are in the know that know exactly what was filed. If not hundreds of thousands of people all over the world that know exactly what's happening. They've read everything, they know what's coming. And I want to read it. I feel like in some way, shape, or form, they've already admitted guilt. And the second you admit guilt, it's not about do you owe, it's about how much. And the second they find out about what the MULN story really is, greatest financial heist of all time. People died, people cried. Worst possible experience. Oh man, the second they admit guilt, it's game over. And it feels like they already did, and we just don't know it yet. And it feels like, again, I mean, in the letter that we asked for the extension, we said we're trying to write a response to their answer. So when I hear that, it tells me that not only are we getting our amended complaint, but we're also getting what was suppressed October 5th. That is what I'm really hoping for. Monday or Tuesday, baby. Um, yeah, again, think about it. The second we hit $1 a share, we're at 500 million market cap. We know that going from 16 cents to $1 a share is going to bring in FOMO. FOMO's never been less than $1 billion. Never less than $1 billion. And so if $1 billion comes in to buy a $500 million company, the stock price just goes up until that $1 billion gets filled at whatever your freaking stop limits are. My opinion is you should not have one. My opinion is let's see how high this bitch can go. Like, if we did all this fighting for 2 fucking years to get us in this one spot where retail is going to get one squeeze, finally, with no manipulation inside their squeeze, and it will be determined by mathematical law of supply and demand. God damn it. All you got to do is hold and it can go to infinity. That's what the math says. All right, guys. Well, that's what I got for you. I hope you have a good rest of the Sunday. And yeah, I'm just like, I mean, I'll definitely be making a video once the amended complaint comes out. See you then.